Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. We're back with Iron Blooded Orphans, episode 9. It's been kind of a break from that because there's been so much other stuff like Gundam Breaker 4. And a bunch of other stuff, but I've been happy to dive back into this show because it is really good. So, yeah, let's get started. So, this could be by far the horniest episode of IBO or Gundam. I don't know how further it gets, but the dialogue throughout this episode is crazy. It starts with, I guess, Turbin wanting to take Tekadon to meet Teiwaz. Okay, there's a lot of T's there. The old man, I guess, specifically of Teiwaz, because now they're in this partnership, right? Where Teiwaz can help Tekadon move some things, make some money, but they still have that job with Cadelia and getting her to Earth. Okay, we start to meet this guy, and it's interesting how they sort of lay things out because he seems very cool, very calm, very nice. And what's really interesting here too is there's a lot of like Japanese cultural stuff. Now, I don't know how much that is just because this is a Japanese property or how much they are trying to infuse that into this individual. We see a little bit more of this later on in the episode. But I think it's kind of really neat that they get a chance to, we meet this old man, and we don't really know how this relationship could develop for Tekadon, because Orga, has his plans in mind, but he kind of reveals them in a vulnerable state here later on. Now, this girl says, and I forgot her name, I guess I could look it up, but it's just funny how she has this line like, a night with Naze is tamer than this. Like, again, there's all this innuendo like that's going on throughout this whole thing. And actually, I should have mentioned back when, Tekadon's meeting with Teiwaz, the idea was maybe to split things 50-50 so no one's in charge of the other, but McMurdo, Barristan. Okay, that's the name of the old man, right? Which is kind of an odd name. It's like two last names. Can you really trust someone with that? But then there's McGillis. So you got McGillis, you got McMurdo. Is there something there maybe that they'll reveal later? I don't know. But it's just interesting how McMurdo is all like, he's like a total weeb. He's all into that Japanese culture. And I guess the idea is to do some sort of blood oath that sort of further cements, I guess, this partnership they're going to have. Again, going blood oath. There's a lot of, again, Japanese cultural stuff happening here. Another weird conversation because we have, that, okay, there's, Ozzy, Amita, Atra. Okay, now there's all A's. So there's all T's, now there's all A's. But anyway, really weird conversation here because, the lady is talking to Atra, who's a younger girl, talking about men giving love, how to find, how to get the right love from a man and sharing the meat. And yes, that is what she's referencing here. I got to say, as cool as this show is, sometimes they go too far into the innuendo where it's almost like bizarre or, hey, look, it could be in the future everyone's horny like this and everyone talks in that way. Or I could be missing something myself. All right, we see Gallahorn just for a little bit, I guess, just to let us know that they're still here. There's that dude they picked up from earlier that wanted to get, I think his name is Ein, E-I-N, and I guess he's helping out, and then they show like a flashback of him. And I guess, I forget if it's his dad or something that died before. And he's like, children should not be killed in this. And then he himself gets killed. And so this guy's like, I need revenge. So that's kind of the plot here. But yeah, we don't spend too much time with Gallahorn anyway. And there's not even really much action. All right, Naze is hanging out with Orga. And I guess part of, the deal of their partnership is to kind of help move stuff. So apparently, Naze was able to make Orga a whole bunch of money. And so this is pretty interesting because not only do they feel like they got a score, like they've kind of moved forward with their plans, but it's enough money to where it kind of changes things. It's very interesting. Like something I go back to that I think it's good that shows do when they have ensembles is like, I think of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right? Where you have, it's like a show where people are in suits fighting monsters, but then you have like the kids hanging out. Was Angel Grove? I forget the name of like the cafe or mall or whatever. When you see them kind of like in their element outside of the war and the battling and fighting, and that's what's happening here. And it's actually really neat because it does kind of open up more character dynamics again, Orga says something that I think is pretty powerful. So Kudelia is talking to the old man because he's talking about, hey, look, let Tewaz kind of be the one in charge, leading sort of you going to Earth, what you're trying to do with the independence of Mars, I guess, because bringing up that there could be fighting that occurs. And it's interesting because even though the fighting has to do with like ships and mobile suits, that's just a means to the end. Whereas really the subsurface of this, and I'm watching The Penguin, just watched the first episode, this does have that mafia feel to it. Since someone could have brought that up to me before, but I definitely notice it now because they talk about how, you know, when certain organizations or groups will make plays, it will cause others to sort of want to make plays as well. And that's sort of a mafia thing that's going on. And so it's almost like he's sitting here to provide protection. And you know, Mikazuki, she's wondering, you know, what she should do. And Mikazuki's like, you have to make that choice. And I think that's kind of neat that she has to make a choice like that. And I guess because the issue was the old man brought up how, you know, people could die from this, from what she's trying to do, but people could die regardless. So yeah, she's really having to think about that. But the old man has an interest in Mikazuki, especially how he was, you know, how Mikazuki's a badass. He only has to say a few things and then you're like, okay, that guy gets it. And I really like this other aspect to it too, where he's like, the old man is saying, hey, we have your mobile suit and we have the engineers that can customize it, upgrade it. So now we're getting into the cool mobile suit stuff that I like. So I like that Mikazuki's in a position, or the mech of the show is now in a position where we're going to see it go through some transformations, get its upgrades. So I like how that's happening here. All right, everyone's happy and celebrating. And we see them out, they're eating. Orga's like, yeah, buy whatever you want. We have this lady that's listening in. Just some discussion going on, character building. Orga's caught throwing up. He's kind of out of his element. And it's really interesting because this is where it's almost like that vulnerable state I was talking about that Orga would be in because he's drunk, he's puking. And he's really doubling down on that family aspect. He's like, he's proud that he's able to offer a family, give someone a family. The group he's with, the people from Mars, from Tekadon, who he's able to like liberate, break them free, while at the same time kind of helping Kudelia do her thing to bring freedom. It's very interesting how Orga and Kudelia are on this parallel path, and they're kind of working together to do it. But also the family kind of then goes back to that mafia thing I was talking about, where that's kind of how this is structured, it seems to be. Yeah, and this is where he's talking about it. But it's cool to see these characters in this situation. There's not fighting going on. It's just more of, oh, they need to get to the next spot. They don't even know what to expect. It's not like they're thinking, oh no, battle tomorrow morning. They're able to just be themselves here, and it's pretty cool. And like 14 minutes in, they give us the title. Okay, I don't know about you, but this situation seemed to do Witch for Mercury before Witch for Mercury. We have a shot where we're just from, what was her name? Fatima? Anyway, her point of view, looking here. And then she gives her a necklace. And then she's sitting at her computer looking at the necklace. So again, I don't know what's supposed to be going on here, but it looks like this character has very strong feelings for Kudelia. And I think more than just what her job entails, what her duties are, because I just kind of the way she acts emotionally, you know, almost like she has this guard up, but then you see that, you know, she's focused on this necklace. The necklace is in the middle of the screen. It's actually on her console between the monitor and the keyboard. So obviously she's keeping it in line of sight. I even doing a shot where it's just looking right at it, and they're supposed to like matching necklaces. All right, and then we get a shot of the Barbados in the hangar, and this engineer guy's excited about it because, and this is where there's this little mini lore dump where they keep repeating the same thing. You know, they haven't seen this since the Calamity War. There's like 72 or 74 of them that existed. Now there's no limits on what he can do with this. Yeah, I think this is the best case scenario for the Gundam pilot. And again, with the show's horniness, because I think he says something like worked up a good sweat last night, alluding to something. All right, and then the ceremony is starting, which again really imbues a lot of like Japanese cultural in terms of the visual identity. I don't know specifically if this is representative of everything or anything, but yeah, everyone's hanging out before the ceremony starts. And it's interesting because they're again getting the ceremony started, doing some calligraphy. Mikazuki is commenting on the lettering because he's been learning to read and write, and he finds this enjoyable. Again, it's very interesting the depth they are going with the character interactions here. Of like, you could take a slice of Mikazuki, and so far 9 episodes. There's a lot to tell about him and his past. Cordelia shows up looking like a dominatrix. And yeah, they're having their ceremony, and, she's also come to the decision that she doesn't want to rely on Tewaz and the old man, that she sees Orga as her boss. And it's really cool because it's that family dynamic. This has sort of really strengthened it, even coming in face to face with not even a conflict, but another group of like allies, another group of people that can help sort of contrast the relationship with who they are inside Tekkadan with Tewaz, the outsiders, or from the turbine. So again, really good themes going on here. Yeah, that's when she tells him officially, and it ends with the blood oath occurring, and everyone just hanging out, having fun. Yeah, so very interesting Gundam TV show here that I'm watching. It is by far a very, very well done show on many levels. I mean, it has that mafia element to it, and I guess maybe that's standing out because I just watched The Penguin, as I mentioned. But how in this episode there wasn't a lot of, or at all, any mobile suit battles, although we got a lot of information about what we can expect from the mobile suit aspect of this, considering that the engineers have the Barbados, and they have some amazing engineers at Tewaz. And then just getting deeper into the plot with Orga, because sometimes in, I guess, Japanese writing does this very well, where you have when characters are in front of each other and having to express in front of each other, a lot of times they're not saying exactly what they mean, what they want to say. But when you get a character in a vulnerable state, like we saw Orga as being drunk, and then he's like spilling how he's so happy that he can create this family and put this family together. I mean, the way they're writing this is better than most shows that are even out today. It's a lot more thoughtful. Again, even though I've said this before, it even shows me how much of a departure something like Witch from Mercury was when IBO was the show that came out before. So anyway, great episode of IBO without really any mobile suit battling going on, just a lot of awesome character development. I'm really liking what we're seeing here, so I'm glad I got to get back to this, and don't worry, I will continue and I will finish. But anyway, y'all, thanks for watching. We'll talk later. Have a good one.